Hello everyone! Ever wonder where caring ends and codependency begins? In just 30 seconds, let's explore codependency versus healthy support. Know the difference. Healthy support empowers, respects boundaries, and encourages individual growth. Codependency, on the other hand, often involves an unhealthy reliance, a blurring of lines, and can stifle personal development. Stay tuned to learn how to identify these crucial distinctions and foster truly supportive relationships. Today, we will talk about codependency versus healthy support. Know the difference. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. The intricate dance of human relationships often blurs the lines between genuine care and an unhealthy enmeshment. We are, by nature, social beings who thrive on connection, empathy, and mutual assistance. Yet, sometimes, the very acts of nurturing and supporting can subtly morph into patterns that undermine individual well-being and autonomy. This is the critical juncture where healthy support diverges from codependency. A distinction that is not always immediately apparent, but holds profound implications for the health and sustainability of any relationship. Understanding this fundamental difference is paramount for fostering relationships that are genuinely enriching, empowering, and conducive to the growth of all individuals involved. It requires introspection, a willingness to examine relational dynamics, and an ongoing commitment to personal and interpersonal development. 1. The foundation of healthy support: autonomy and reciprocity. At its core, healthy support is characterized by a deep respect for individual autonomy and a balanced sense of reciprocity. In a supportive relationship, individuals are encouraged to be their authentic selves, pursue their own goals, and make their own decisions, even if those decisions differ from what their partner or friend might prefer. There's an underlying belief in the other person's capability and resilience, fostering an environment where growth, independence, and self-reliance are not just tolerated, but actively celebrated. Reciprocity is key. Support flows both ways, not necessarily in equal measure at all times, but with a general understanding that both individuals are invested in each other's well-being and are willing to offer assistance when needed and equally willing to accept it. This dynamic creates a sense of mutual respect and shared responsibility, preventing one person from becoming solely responsible for the emotional or practical needs of the other. 2. Unpacking. Codependency, the cycle of enmeshment and control. In stark contrast, codependency is a dysfunctional pattern of relating where one person, the codependent, relies excessively on another person, often though not exclusively, someone struggling with addiction, illness, or other chronic issues, for their sense of identity, self-worth, and emotional stability. This reliance is often rooted in a deep-seated need to control or fix the other person's problems, mistakenly believing that their own happiness is inextricably linked to the other person's behavior or well-being. The codependent individual often derives their self-worth from being needed, from being the savior or the fixer, and may even neglect their own needs, desires, and boundaries in the process. This creates a highly imbalanced dynamic, where one person's identity becomes enmeshed with the other's. Control, often disguised as help or concern, becomes a defining feature. 3. Boundary breakdown, a hallmark of codependency. One of the most telling indicators differentiating codependency from healthy support is the presence, or rather absence, of clear and respected boundaries. In healthy relationships, individuals have well-defined personal boundaries that delineate their emotional, physical, and psychological space. They can say no without guilt, express their needs and limits clearly, and respect the boundaries of others. There's a mutual understanding that while interdependence is healthy, merging identities is not. However, in codependent relationships, boundaries are often non-existent or constantly violated. The codependent individual may feel responsible for the other person's feelings, problems, and even actions, leading them to overstep personal boundaries repeatedly. They may absorb the other person's emotions as their own, feeling their pain or anxiety as if it were directly theirs, making it difficult to differentiate their own emotional landscape from that of the other. 4. The role of self-worth, intrinsic versus extrinsic validation. A crucial distinction lies in the source of self-worth. Individuals engaged in healthy supportive relationships generally possess an intrinsic sense of self-worth. Their value is not contingent upon the actions, approval, or success of others. They derive satisfaction from their own accomplishments, values, and personal growth. And while they appreciate validation from others, it doesn't define their existence. They offer support from a place of abundance and genuine care, not from a need to prove their worth or earn affection. In contrast, codependency is often driven by an extrinsic need for validation. The codependent's self-esteem is heavily tied to their ability to help, control, or fix others. Their sense of value comes from being needed, from being seen as indispensable, or from sacrificing their own needs for the sake of another. 5. Communication styles. Openness versus manipulation. Communication, the lifeblood of any relationship, also presents a stark contrast between healthy support and codependency. In healthy relationships, communication is generally open, honest, and direct. Individuals feel safe to express their thoughts, feelings, needs, and concerns without fear of judgment, retaliation, or guilt-tripping. Active listening is prevalent, and there's a genuine effort to understand each other's perspectives. Disagreements are navigated constructively, with a focus on finding solutions rather than assigning blame. This fosters trust and emotional intimacy. Conversely, communication in codependent relationships is often indirect, manipulative, and laced with resentment. The codependent may use guilt trips, passive-aggressive remarks, or even emotional blackmail to control situations or elicit desired responses. 6. Personal growth. Fostering versus hindering development. A significant outcome of healthy relationships is the mutual fostering of personal growth. Partners or friends in supportive dynamics encourage each other to pursue their passions, overcome challenges, and evolve as individuals. There's a celebration of achievements and a compassionate presence during setbacks, but never an expectation that one person's growth should be sacrificed for the others. Individuals feel empowered to explore their full potential, knowing they have a cheerleader in their corner. In contrast, codependency often hinders personal growth for both parties. The codependent individual may neglect their own development, hobbies, and aspirations as they become consumed by the problems and needs of the other person. Their identity becomes so intertwined that they lose sight of who they are outside of the relationship. 7. Conflict resolution. Collaborative problem solving versus avoidance blame. The way conflicts are approached offers another clear differentiator. In healthy supportive relationships, conflict is viewed as an opportunity for growth and understanding, rather than something to be feared or avoided. Individuals engage in collaborative problem solving, expressing their perspectives, listening to each other, and working together to find mutually agreeable solutions. There's an underlying commitment to the relationship and a belief that challenges can be overcome through open dialogue and compromise. The focus is on the issue at hand, not on personal attacks or assigning blame. However, in codependent relationships, conflict is often met with avoidance, defensiveness, or an immediate dive into blame. The codependent may fear conflict because it threatens their perceived sense of control or the stability of the relationship upon which their self-worth depends. 8. Cultivating healthy support. A path to thriving relationships. Recognizing the distinctions between codependency and healthy support is the first crucial step towards cultivating genuinely thriving relationships. It requires an honest self-assessment, a willingness to challenge ingrained patterns, and often the courage to seek external support through therapy or counseling. Fostering healthy support involves establishing clear boundaries, nurturing an intrinsic sense of self-worth, practicing open and direct communication, encouraging individual growth in oneself and others, and engaging in collaborative conflict resolution. It means understanding that true love and care empower individuals to be their best selves, not to become dependent on another. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.